Hey everyone, welcome to Speak English Smartly. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects all of us: social media. Is it making us smarter by giving us instant access to knowledge? Or is it dumbing us down by shortening our attention spans and feeding us endless distractions? We all use it, but have you ever stopped to think about how it's shaping our minds? Today, Pete and I will explore both sides, and trust me, you'll start seeing social media in a whole new way.
That's right, Jessica. Social media is everywhere, and whether we like it or not, it's changing the way we think, learn, and interact. Some say it makes us smarter because we can access knowledge instantly, while others argue that it's destroying deep thinking and making people more impatient. Think about it. When was the last time you read an entire article without switching tabs? Or watched a full video without checking your phone? Social media has rewired our brains, and today we're breaking down whether that's a good or bad thing.
Exactly, Pete. We live in an age of instant gratification. News, entertainment, even answers to complex questions are just a click away. That sounds great, right? But here's the catch. When everything is so easily accessible, we stop making an effort to deeply understand things. Instead of reading books or thinking critically, we skim through headlines, short videos, and tweets. This makes us feel informed, but are we really learning? Or are we just consuming bite-sized facts without context?
That's a big problem, Jessica. Social media feeds us information, but it doesn't teach us how to think. Algorithms show us content based on what we like, which means we get stuck in echo chambers, seeing the same ideas over and over. This limits our ability to question, analyze, or see different perspectives. And let's not forget about the fake news problem. So many people believe misinformation just because it's shared widely. So, while social media gives us knowledge, it also makes it harder to tell fact from fiction.
That's so true. We're constantly bombarded with information overload, and instead of thinking critically, we just absorb whatever we see. It's like our brains are on autopilot, scrolling, liking, sharing, without really questioning anything. And let's be honest, Pete, how many times have you gone online to check one thing but ended up wasting an hour watching random videos? That's because social media is designed to keep us hooked. The more time we spend, the more ads they show us, and the more money they make.
Absolutely, Jessica. It's not just about distraction, it's addiction. Platforms use psychological tricks to keep us scrolling, like infinite scrolling, notifications, and dopamine boosts from likes and comments. It trains our brains to crave instant feedback, which makes focusing on real work much harder. Have you noticed how people can't sit in silence anymore? Waiting in line, sitting in a cafe, everyone is glued to their phones. It's like we've lost the ability to just be present and think deeply.
Exactly. It's like our attention span is shrinking. Studies even show that our ability to focus has dropped below that of a goldfish. Can you believe that? Instead of engaging in long, meaningful conversations, we send quick texts, emojis, and memes. Don't get me wrong, social media helps us stay connected, but it also makes our interactions shallower. We feel like we're in touch with people, but are we really? Or are we just liking each other's posts and calling it friendship?
That's a great point. Social media creates an illusion of connection, but in reality, many people feel lonelier than ever. Instead of having real conversations, we scroll through updates, compare our lives to others, and feel pressured to look perfect online. It's crazy. People now care more about how their life looks on Instagram than how it actually feels. Have you ever seen someone take 100 selfies just to post one natural picture? It's all about validation, and that's messing with our self-esteem.
Yes, that's what's scary. Social media creates unrealistic standards. We see people living perfect lives, traveling, looking flawless, always happy, but we forget it's just a highlight reel. No one posts their struggles, their bad days, or their failures, and yet we compare ourselves to these edited, filtered versions of reality, which makes people feel insecure and unhappy. So, while social media can inspire, it can also create pressure and self doubt.
Exactly, Jessica. And this affects young people the most. Teenagers today are growing up in a world where their worth is measured by likes and followers. If a post doesn't get enough engagement, they feel rejected. That's dangerous. Back in the day, we worried about fitting in at school. Now, kids worry about fitting in online 24/7. The pressure is constant. No wonder anxiety and depression have skyrocketed in the social media era.
That's a huge issue. And it's not just mental health, social media affects our productivity too. Have you ever tried to focus on something important but kept checking your phone every few minutes? Our brains are now wired to seek instant rewards. Instead of concentrating for hours, we get distracted in seconds. And let's be honest, how many of us start the day with good intentions but end up spending 2 hours on TikTok or Instagram without realizing it?
Guilty as charged, Jessica. Social media is a productivity killer. Think about it. Before smartphones, if you sat down to study or work, there were fewer distractions. Now, our phones buzz, notifications pop up, and we fall into the scrolling trap. Even when we stop using social media, our brains are still craving that quick dopamine rush. That's why people struggle to focus on long tasks. Social media has trained us to be impatient, and that's making deep work harder than ever.
Wow, Pete, we've covered so much. Social media is a double edged sword. On one hand, it gives us instant access to knowledge, keeps us connected, and even helps us learn new things. But on the other hand, it's shortening our attention spans, creating unrealistic standards, and making deep thinking harder. So, is social media making us smarter or dumber? Honestly, it depends on how we use it. If we're mindful, it can be a powerful tool. But if we let it control us, it can be a huge distraction.
Exactly, Jessica. Social media itself isn't good or bad. It's all about balance. If we use it wisely, limit distractions, and focus on real conversations and deep learning, it can make us smarter. But if we let it take over, we risk losing focus, patience, and even real human connections. So, here's our challenge to you. How do you use social media? Is it helping or hurting you? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Speak English Smartly for more engaging discussions. See you next time.